Hey everybody, it's James with Rowe-Thrush. Welcome to the Rowe-Thrush Livestream Interviews show. Today we will be interviewing Ed Brownlee III with PAC Strapping. This show is dedicated to the Grainger sales force to help inform them of the suppliers that we represent and the solutions that they can bring to your customers. So a little brief note about who Rowe-Thrush is, in case you're asking. We're a manufacturer rep agency that specializes in Grainger. We have many great resources available to the Grainger sales force, such as segmented line cards, segmented sales flyers for each of our suppliers, the Rowe-Thrush SharePoint site, Rowe-Thrush videos, and much, much more. And with that, would like to welcome Ed to the show. Hey, Ed, how you doing?
I'm good, James. How are you? Great to see you.
Great to see you too. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So yeah, thanks for joining us here today. Really looking forward to getting into the world of PAC strapping and what you guys have to offer. But before we get into the company, first tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with PAC strapping, and what is it that you do there?
Well, thanks, James. I appreciate it. So I'm Ed Brownlee. My current title is I'm the National Sales Manager with PAC Strapping Products. I've been with the company for 26 years, a little over 26 years. Spent the first 22 years with the company as a territory manager. I was the Mid-Atlantic Territory Manager, covering basically about 10 states. So yeah, and now I've taken on a role as a national sales manager and responsible for basically the entire sales organization of PAC Strapping, and have the territory managers who cover different geographical territories, the United States, reporting to me, and then I also handle some of our national accounts.
Excellent, excellent. That's a long period of time to be with a company. So it must be a pretty good company to work for. And you must know a lot in the world of plastic and steel strapping.
Yeah, yep. I've been around it for quite a long time. So, just to give you a brief kind of thumbnail sketch of the company, if that's okay.
Well, real quick, before we get into the company, one more question about you.
Yeah.
And this is a question I ask everybody, and that is, what is your favorite movie and why?
Oh, God. That's an easy one for me, actually. My favorite movie is There Will Be Blood. And it's it really all it comes back to the acting. I'm a huge fan of now all of a sudden his name is escaping.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes. So
yeah,
I think his acting performance in that was phenomenal. And also I really like the music score to that movie. So
yeah, it's a long drawn out movie. It's kind of slow at periods of time, but it is so dramatic and it's so well acted by Daniel Day-Lewis. He is one of my favorite actors. He is very selective in the movie roles that he chooses.
And
he's one of those ones that deep dives into that role and continues to act even off screen, or off camera.
I've heard that he stays in character. Yes,
stays in character. When he did Abraham Lincoln, which that's a movie of his I have not seen. And then there was that one where he played a famous dress or clothing designer, the Thin Line, or I forgot the name of it, but that was another really good movie of his. Yeah. So
that was an easy one for me.
Excellent pick. Excellent pick. So now tell us a little bit about PAC Strapping and, the history of PAC and what it is that they do.
Okay. So PAC Strapping was started actually in 1982. And at that time, they actually had a different name. They were known as Packaging Accessories Corporation. So the company was actually started by my father, who has the same name, Ed Brownlee Jr., and his partner, Pete Sylvester. They actually purchased a small, I'll say kind of a small portion of another company that was making buckles and seals. So they bought a small portion of that company, and they started the manufacturing of buckles and seals and corner protectors, what we call really accessory items for the strapping industry. They started that in 1982, right in Exton, Pennsylvania, which is where I'm sitting today. So those were the first products they started to manufacture. They went to market through distribution. That was their marketing channel that they chose to go through, and that's the model that we still follow today. And as they built the business, they started to add on other products to the line, like strapping tools, strapping kits, and naturally plastic strapping also. They were not making plastic strapping at that time. We were buying and reselling. And then as that business grew, they decided to get into the manufacturing of plastic strapping. That was probably late 80s, early 90s, and they opened a plant down in Lancaster, South Carolina to do that. Now we're one of the largest manufacturers of plastic strapping in the U.S. And we still sell our products through distribution. We're still committed to the distributor market, and that's how we still go to market. And we've rounded out our product line that we now sell. Accessory products, a whole line of strapping tools. Obviously, we've got a very broad line of plastic strapping, both polypropylene and polyester, and cord strapping and steel strapping, strapping equipment. So we have a very broad product line. And I'd say probably the biggest change that we've seen over the last few years was in 2018. The company was bought by the Fromm organization, which is a Swiss-based company. Started in 1947, I believe, and Fromm is a leading manufacturer of strapping systems, very high-end power tools, plastic strapping, and really all kind of products related to that industry. And really, they're known as a world leader in the production of plastic strapping and tools and systems.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out too. So when you go onto Grainger.com, if you type in PAC Strapping, you'll find our products, obviously, but also if you type in Fromm, you'll find some of our battery-powered tools, correct? Or do we have manual operated tools?
Yeah, so Fromm is really kind of in that power tool arena. So if you go into the Grainger.com, you type in Fromm, you're going to see all those power tools come up, and we've got a full offering of those Fromm power tools on the Grainger site. From their P328 to their P329 up to their P331. So there's a number of options there on the site to look at Fromm tools.
Excellent. Now, when it comes to the types of customers that would be interested in purchasing either Fromm or PAC Strapping products, who should Grainger account managers talk to?
Well, I would always, if you want to say where our products used, I would always start with manufacturing. That's where you're going to see a lot of our products used, and that could be in terms of what types of manufacturing. It could be anything in the construction trade industry. It could be lumber, brick and block, things like that. They're big strap users. The paper industry, corrugated box manufacturers, commercial printing, things like that. The meat and seafood packaging are really big users of plastic strapping. The appliance industry, cabinetry, door and window manufacturing, can and bottle manufacturing, textile industry. God, there's so many different aspects of the manufacturing where our product is used. And then when you get into things like healthcare, a lot of times we'll look at something like pharmaceuticals. So almost all pharmaceuticals are produced, and then they are typically using plastic totes that they'll pack things into, and those will go typically through some type of automated process where they're strapping those totes closed, and they're doing replenishment, or they're sending out pharmaceuticals to could be distribution centers of a wholesale drug store provider like a CVS or a Rite Aid or something like that. And then also in healthcare, I would say big user of plastic strapping is also would be the like the commercial linen industry, where they're doing you know, washing and drying and returning linens for, big hospitals or nursing homes or things like that. So they've gone away from using um, plastic shrink wrap and things like that to bundling the linen with plastic strapping. So manufacturing, healthcare, and then in the government part of things, um, the military, uses a tremendous amount of plastic strapping for munitions and transport of goods, either within the United States or overseas. So really, manufacturing, healthcare, government, military, all using a lot of the products that we both manufacture and sell.
Thanks for going through all of that. I've been working with you guys for a very long time, and I never would have thought healthcare actually that there would be an application there in the pharmaceutical industry, but also linens, as you said. And as
Mhm.
we were preparing for this interview here, when you told me that, I was like, really? And hey, that's great to know. Thank you for letting us all know about that.
Yeah, we always want to point out those other markets where the product's used.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Now, when it comes to the customer business issues or CBIs, where do you have solutions for customers?
Well, I could start with cost savings, and what we do a lot of, James, now is a lot of conversions uh, from steel to plastic strapping. Um, and the number one thing is that we'll give you a tremendous cost savings in materials. Um, you know, Usually somewhere 30 to 50% savings. Between using plastic strapping versus steel strapping. Um, so there's a tremendous cost savings there. Also, when you convert from steel to plastic, you're going to eliminate a lot of safety issues, which are, the safety issues of steel strapping that we deal with are very sharp edges of the product. Um, when it's cut, the spring back effect of it that could hurt someone. And then the weight of a steel coil, which is typically 100 pounds, coil plastic is about half that weight. So you're going to reduce that aspect of people getting injured lifting things and workman's comp claims and things like that. And then in terms of like productivity, we can talk about and give you solutions in terms of automation. So if you're strapping manually, we can move you to some type of power tool to increase your productivity, or we can look at an application where we can put in a fully automatic or even a semi-automatic strapping machine to increase your productivity. And then in terms of like sustainability, not only is polyester strapping a lot of times green in color, but it is a very green product. It is a recyclable product as opposed to the steel strapping, which is much more difficult to recycle. So there's a number of customer business issues that we can use our product line to give them solutions and show them cost savings, productivity enhancement, sustainability, and keeping their workers safe when they're using our products.
And also, don't forget keep stock too. With plastic strapping or buckles, edge protectors, those are all great for keep stock for your customers' inventory that they have. So don't forget to think about that as well when you're talking to your customers about the tools that we have and as well.
Yeah, and another part of our product line that may go well with like keep stock may be things like manual tools. They may go well in like that vending program. So keep that in mind, definitely.
Yeah, and I remember, as we were going through all this, about 12, 13 years ago, my first Granger show, I remember spending a lot of time in the PAC strapping booth. And back then, the booth size that we had was a 5 foot by 10 foot booth. And I was amazed that your father was able to get, this big strapping machine in there, as well as everything else that he had in there too. But I remember him teaching me about productivity and safety, sustainability, all of these things that we just went over. And he was a teacher to me about how to talk to the Grainger sales force. So certainly great to see
Yeah,
and hear all this.
hopefully we can continue to do that at the Grainger show this year also.
Yes, and we'll get more into that here in a little bit, about the Grainger show. But yes, they will be attending the show. And scrolling across the bottom there, you'll see our booth number. And I kind of looked at it today. Oh, 2019. Easy way to remember it. I wish it was 2019. Life was better in 2019.
A little different back then, yeah.
Yes, very different. So when a Grainger account manager is walking into a facility, say a manufacturing facility, or talking to their government their government customers or healthcare, what should they be looking for in order to talk to them about your products?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of break that down into are they an existing strap user or are they a new strap user? Maybe they're not using strap at all and they want to move to a product like that. So if it's an existing strap user, there's a few questions I like to ask, and I think by using just kind of like some standard questions, it really can help a distributor salesperson go into an account and ask the questions in kind of an orderly manner, and you'll get the answers you need to recommend the product, and it'll help you actually kind of look like you know what you're talking about when you do that. So we always want to ask what is the application, how is your strapping being used, and what is being strapped. That's always very important. We want to know, is it usually strapping falls into two categories. We're either using strapping to palletize something, or we may be using it to do some smaller bundling of products, or closing a box or something like that. So that's usually where it breaks into. So we want to know, are we strapping something that's non-compressible? Are we strapping something that is compressible? How are you using the strapping? Is the strapping being applied manually with a tool, or is it being applied automatically with a strapping machine? Always like to ask, what color is the strapping? That usually will give us some indications of what it is and how it's being used. Also, what's the surface of the strapping? Is it smooth, or does it have what we call embossing, which makes the strap kind of has that waffle sort of patterned on it? That's usually the way I describe it, and people understand that. Is the strapping, is it shiny, or does it have a dull appearance? That a lot of times will tell us what type of strapping it is. And then how is it being held together? Is it being held together with like mechanical seals and wire buckles, or does it look like it's melted together? Or what we may use either heat or friction to hold the strapping together. And then also, we always, if we're trying to figure out what type of strapping, we're trying to replace a strapping that's in there, if we can't figure out, we can always say, all right, give me a sample, cut off a piece, or take some pictures. That's always very helpful to see applications too. So that's some of the stuff we ask when we're talking about an existing strap user.
Excellent. And when they're at the customer facility, take a manufacturing facility, a great place to go to see if they're using strapping material is their shipping department, basically, where their loading docks are. Because usually the strapping, the machines will be there, or the battery powered tools will be in that general vicinity, because they strap them up onto a pallet or strap the box closed before they load it into the truck. So that's a good area to take a look to see if they're currently using strapping products.
Certainly, yeah. The shipping department, and obviously the production floor also is where we want to kind of focus our efforts too. So,
yeah.
And then in terms of like a new strap user, someone that's not using strap at all, we kind of want to approach that a little bit differently. We want to ask some of the similar questions. First of all, we need to know what we're strapping, or is it a palletizing application, or are we doing more of a bundling or closure type application? And what are the characteristics of the product? Because that's going to kind of lead us down the path of what type of strapping do we want to use. Is it a non-compressible, or is it a compressible item? How much does it weigh? Another key thing is, what is the shape of the product? Is it a squared off load, or is it round? That's always very important for us to know that. I said, what is the weight? What is the volume in terms of how much strapping is being done? Are we doing a couple pallets a day? Or are we doing a couple hundred pallets a day? That's going to tell us, do we need to use manual tools, or we need to just go to something that's more automated so that we can, help increase production efficiencies and things like that. And is there anything special about the product, when it's being strapped? Is it hot? Or is it wet? Something like that. So those are important questions to ask so we can get an idea of what type of product we want to recommend.
Excellent, excellent. Now, when they're at the customer facility, who should they be talking to? As far as these products, and who should they be asking those questions that you just went over?
Yeah, I think some of the things we've got, that we've got up here on the screen are going to be some key personnel that we want to talk to. We've got your plant manager. That's always a great place to start. And, plant manager is usually going to have a feel for everything that's going on within the facility, from production to shipping. So I think that's always a good place to start. Your shipping manager, obviously, your production manager, your safety manager is going to be very interested in terms of what you're using in terms of strapping. When I talked about those conversions from steel to plastic, the safety manager is going to be involved in that frequently. Also, they're going to be very interested maybe in moving people away from having to actually do some strapping. So they may be, pushing people towards more automated type systems. And then, another very key people to talk to are the operators on the plant floor. They're the ones using the product. They're going to be using the strapping, whether it's plastic or steel. They're going to be the ones using the tools that apply the strapping, whether it's a manual tool or a power tool. So you want the operator to be your friend. There's no doubt about that. And then the maintenance department, because they've got to take care of the products that you put in there, whether it's a strapping machine or a strapping tool. So they're going to want to know, what's the tell me about this machine. What makes it maintenance friendly, or what gives it more uptime, and so we don't have a downtime and things like that. So those are all, when I look through that list, all people that are going to be involved in the decision making of what type of products we're using, in terms of plastic strapping and related products in the facility.
Now, also, when it comes to those larger pieces of equipment, the big heavy duty machinery, the maintenance, since we were just talking about that, it's relatively easy and simple to perform too. If I remember correctly from, back in the day when I, worked the account a lot more myself.
Yeah, I mean, most in terms of strapping equipment or strapping tools, most strapping equipment, the biggest thing you need to do is keep it clean.
Yeah. There's a lot of dust from the
Yeah,
plastic and everything.
the thing with strapping equipment that's very important is, when you get a piece of equipment, like an automatic piece of equipment into a facility, setup is very important. We gotta set it up right and get it right coming out of the box. Operator training is extremely important. They've got to understand how to use the equipment. Training them on, hey, if you get a jam or something, how to clear the jam. So that's very important. But in terms of maintenance, we want to keep it clean. PAC can put together also some preventative maintenance type of documentation for people. When they get a new piece of equipment or maybe a new power tool, so they know, this is what we want to do to keep it running and keep it running so we're getting maximum uptime with that new piece of equipment. So maintenance department is very important. And we have PAC has a full service department that spends a lot of time talking to the maintenance or service department of other companies.
Excellent. Now, what are some of the key features and benefits that customers can get out of PAC strapping products?
Well, we've got a number of plastic strapping products that are very high strength. As I pointed out, we're using plastic strapping a lot of times to replace steel strapping. So it's a high strength product. So you're gonna get a secure load. You're gonna reduce your freight damage. I think I've talked about how plastic is a more green solution or sustainable solution than steel strapping, and then it is safer than steel strapping. And the one thing I will also point out that makes plastic strapping unique in terms of how it's a little different than steel strapping is that when we I'll take for example a load of lumber. If you apply steel strapping to a load of lumber and you get it nice and tight, and then you move that load around, you move it in the yard, you put it on a flatbed truck to be delivered somewhere. It's going up and down the road. It's moving up and down. Well, what happens is that load changes a little bit, and it settles. And what steel strapping does not have the ability to do, it doesn't have the ability to shrink back. So if the load changes, your steel strapping that you put on that was nice and tight, it's staying where it is. It doesn't have the ability to come back. So what you have is you end up having a loose strap basically on that load,
which is dangerous.
Very dangerous. So that's one of the advantages of polyester or plastic strapping, in that we can apply it tight, and that if we apply enough tension and we put the strap into what we call its working range, then it will actually, as that load changes and shifts, the strapping will actually shrink back to that product, so it'll stay tighter over a longer period of time. So not only is plastic giving you it's a less expensive alternative and it's safer, but a lot of times it's a better product to use. So so that would be some of the things I would talk about in terms of the benefits of plastic strapping. And then, when we move into automated equipment, by going to automation, we can increase production uptime, get more product out the door for that customer, and also, with the world we're living in today, with what we've kind of been dealing with over the last couple of years with the COVID pandemic, it's created a real labor shortage. So being able to automate kind of, will take that need for labor away sometimes. So it's a real benefit there. And then, our full line of power strapping tools, many of them being the front line of tools, will help to increase your productivity, give you better packaging integrity by giving you consistent tension all the time. And again, eliminating that operator constantly using a manual tool is going to reduce the risk of them getting injured or getting some type of carpal tunnel or something like that. So that's a real benefit of the power strapping tools. And then finally, we have a full line of strapping kits that are a really convenient solution for a customer when they don't have anything, but they need to get everything to finish a job, maybe to get some stuff out the door. We've got a number of kits that can help them, very convenient, and they can quickly be doing all the strapping that they need to just with one simple strapping kit. So some features and benefits, I think that we really see.
Great. And then, this chart here talks briefly about the different types of strap and, the pros and the cons, if you will, between that. If you want to touch base on that real quick.
Yeah. So, we manufacture 3 types of plastic strapping: polypropylene, polyester, and polyester cord. We are not a manufacturer of steel strapping, but we do inventory and sell quite a bit of steel strapping. So, really the polypropylene is your more what you would see. That's your waffle type strapping that you're going to see bundling newspapers and boxes and things like that. Light duty palletizing. Polyester, as I pointed out, that's the product you're going to see more often that's replacing steel strapping, and it's going to be used in heavier applications like brick and block and lumber and the steel industry. Polyester is a plastic strapping that is produced and made with very high break strength, so it's similar to steel strapping, and it doesn't have a tremendous amount of elongation to it, so we can use it in those applications. And then polyester cord is it's also it is a raw material in terms of it's still polyester, but it's fibers actually that are it's not an extruded product, it's actually a weaved product. So they're fibers that are weaved together, and it's kind of a unique product. It can be tied. It's used a lot in the agricultural industry, and then we have some very heavy duty cord sizes that are used in the lumber industry also. So it's kind of sort of run through of the different types of strapping that we manufacture.
Excellent. And you actually sent us a sample of an item that you want us to show everybody real quick. So I'm going to switch my camera over and go full screen here. So if I'll go ahead and navigate over here the
Sure. Yeah.
item. But if you want to talk about this,
So, so that's the pack strapping. What we call it the SPW kit or the strap pack, and that is a strapping kit, completely self-contained. There, you can see it's got instructions right on the back on how to use it, and basically within that kit, that's a self-dispensing box. So your strap comes right out of there. You're grabbing it right now. There's a little mini coil strap in there that's 3,000 feet. So you just pull the strap out as you need it. You could use it to do some light duty palletizing. You could use that strap pack kit if you've got multiple boxes you want to bundle together. So it's got 3,000 feet of strapping in it. I believe it has 300 wire buckles, and there's also a version with plastic buckles if you don't want to use wire buckles. And then it has a small hand pull tensioner, which you can use to pull the strapping tighter. And that small hand pull tensioner has a little cutter on it too, so you can cut the strap off when you've gotten out enough, as much as you want to use, and you put it around your product and you want to cut that off so you can start strapping something else. So kits are just a great way to be able to take care of the customer with one product. And everything's self-contained in that box, and they don't have to buy the separate items, and something can get to a customer quickly, and they can you can help them take care of a problem they have with probably getting product out the door. So and we have a whole number of various types of strapping kits, whether it's for contain polypropylene strapping like the strap pack kit. Then we've got kits that contain polyester strapping for more heavy duty applications, and we even have kits that contain steel strapping. If you don't want to buy a full coil of steel strapping, we've got a kit that has 2 mini coils of steel strapping in it that would have like 200 or 300 feet in each pack. So a number of different strapping kit options for everybody out there.
Excellent. Thanks for going over all of that. Let's get back over here. All right. Now getting into resources that are available and documented value. So PAC Strapping on their website, and I'm going to share my screen here in a moment so that we can show you everything that is available on the PAC Strapping website. But real quick, we want to go over the documented value that you guys have, so that you can provide. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You're going to see that nice effect right there. All right. Actually, here, hold on a second. Sorry. Go back to this I'm sorry. There we go. That's what we want. So you should see the PAC Strapping website right now, correct?
Yep, we got the PAC website there. And there's a couple of things I could kind of point out for you here. Mm-hmm. If we go to resources, the first thing I'd like to point out that I think is a great tool for people to use. If you go down and you go to our savings tool there. So what this is a program that can help you do a really quick cost comparison, steel versus plastic for your customer. It's literally all you've got to do is kind of put in some basic information, some customer information. It's going to ask you for like the current steel size, how much you use in terms of pounds in a year. If we can get the price of that the customer's paying for the steel strapping, that's a really added benefit. And then you'll see over here we've got some choices of polyester strapping to use. So we pick the size we want, and then we determine the cost per coil that we're gonna sell that at the customer to, and then calculate. And basically, it's going to spit you out something that'll give you a cost savings. Basically, we've got to fill in that info too on the top there.
Yeah, just saw that. We're not going to go through all of that, but you guys get the idea. Really great resource here available to help provide your customers an ROI.
That's basically exactly, James. It's going to give you a return on your investment in terms of moving from steel to plastic, and show you how much money you're going to save over a year's time period. And it's a really great resource. So I would encourage everybody to visit our website and use that, definitely.
Yeah, that is a great resource available. That way you can provide some of that documented value that we talked about. Also, going back to the resources, you have a video library here. They also have a YouTube channel, but right here you can watch videos that talk about the table strappers that they have, the battery powered tools. Really great video content that they have. They have a literature library as well. A bunch of sales flyers available, not Grangerized. If you want Grangerized PAC strapping sales flyers, come to Rowe-Thrush and ask us. We'll get that out to you, as well as some FAQ and miscellaneous other resources too. So a lot of great information available to everybody.
Yep, and I would encourage everybody to visit the site. It's very informative, and you can get a lot of information there.
Now, another resource that's available is this field support. You want to talk about that real quick?
Sure. I think that's one of the things that makes us very unique as a supplier. We have a team of 6 territory managers that cover different parts of the country, and they're available to help Grainger resellers make end user calls. Whether it's converting someone from steel to plastic, or if it's demoing a power tool, or if it's moving someone from a manual application to an automatic application, and it's moving into a piece of automated equipment or something like that. We've got an automation specialist that does nothing but plastic strapping equipment. So, our ability of our territory managers to go out and work with the Grainger resellers is a great resource, and I would encourage them to take advantage of it. So we want to help them sell, and that's what we're there to do. And they've got a lot of experience. They've all been in the industry a long time. Application oriented, so they know the right recommendations to make, and how to talk about the best products to increase product efficiency and increase profits at the same time. So,
and for anybody that may be listening to this later on into the future and maybe listening to the audio version of this, right now we have a territory map up with a list of everybody that we have available to the Grainger sales force, as well as their contact phone number. So reach out to us, and we'll share with you whoever that contact is if you have any needs or questions regarding PAC strapping.
Absolutely.
Now we got a couple of new products, or a few new products, I should say, that you wanted to talk about as well. So I got them up here, and have at it.
Yeah, so we've got the these are current some Grainger SKUs, and we've got the SM60. These are side seal strapping machines, very high speed. Basically, from the name, it'll do up to 60 straps a minute, depending on the arch size. Very new technology in terms of the strapping head that they're using. No belts, no chains, no pulleys, so it's all gear driven. So it's all that gear driven technology. These are great machines for applications like cabinetry, appliances, furniture, things like that. And then when you look at the machine on the right there, which is basically, it's the stainless steel version of the machine, that would be good in the poultry industry, seafood, meat industry. Having the stainless steel option will prevent the machine from rusting in those cold and wet environments. And then the reason that we use the side seal basically is that the strapping head is on the side, and it prevents anything from falling down into that strapping head and causing wear and tear on the moving parts in there, or getting strap jams or things like that. So it's a couple of great products. Great manufacturer of these pieces of equipment. So yeah, and something we'll be talking about and promoting at the Granger show too.
And real quick too, the reason why the one on the left, the red one, why that has two SKUs is because it's for two different size strapping. So depending on the customer's needs or wants, I believe one of those SKUs is a 6 millimeter and the other is a 9 millimeter strap. So depending on what those needs are, and the stainless steel one, I forgot the size of that one, but look it up on Granger.com and you'll be able to see, see what that is.
Yeah, typically arch machines like that are strap size specific. So you typically need to kind of pick your strap size, whether, again, you mentioned whether it's 6 millimeter, 1/4 inch, 9 millimeter, 3/8, or 12 millimeter, 1/2 inch.
Yeah, great. Now, next question. Trade shows. Obviously, Granger show is right around the corner, and this is part of the reason why we have Ed on the show here today. So talk to us about that, and what we already said that you'll be in booth 2019 or 2019. So you guys know the location, but any special products that you're going to have featured in your booth this year?
Yeah. So so we're really looking forward to the show. There'll be a few of us there working the show, and we'll have, again, what I kind of just referenced, we'll have some automatic equipment there. So to look at those automation possibilities, as I talked about, the labor issues that we're dealing with, that's a real focus. And then we'll have a number of the From power tools there. So we can talk a lot about those steel to polyester conversions. And we'd like to be out of the great thing about the Granger trade shows, you can come by and we can actually show you the tool. We can show you how it works. We can let you use it. We can show you the strapping equipment. We can let you use the strapping equipment. So it's great because it's very hands-on, and we can kind of get everybody, working with things, and yeah, it gives you a better understanding of the benefit and features of the product. So we're really looking forward to the Granger show. And then coming up after that, at the end of March, we will be exhibiting at PAC Expo East, which is kind of I'll say it's a more regional version of PAC Expo International, which takes place in Chicago, which will be in October of 2022. So that'll also be a show we're doing. So it's great that we're able to, as things are opening up and we're able to get out and do some live trade shows. That's what we really value, that, being able to show our products in person. And so we're really looking forward to that. And we've got some things planned for 2022.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to getting back down into Orlando for the Granger show. The PAC booth, that's a booth that pretty much every year I spend, some amount of time in the booth. Earlier on in my career, I spent a lot of time, and it's a great booth to go by. I remember being kind of surprised as I progressed about how busy you guys are. I wouldn't think that you guys would be a very busy booth, because if you think about it, strapping and machines and all that, it's not a sexy product, but you guys are always very busy. A lot of traffic, a lot of great follow-up, a lot of great interaction as well. So make sure you stop by, take your customers by, talk to Ed. Ed, who else will be in the booth this year with you?
Yeah, so it'll be myself, and then our automation specialist, Sharon Dixon, and then our vice president and general manager, Mark Albero, will also be joining us this year. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And it may not be sexy, but people need it. So
yes, they do. Yes, they do. And hey, if you stop by their booth, say you watched this live stream, it'd be great for you to let them know that you saw this live stream and that it made you say, hey, I want to stop by. So
yeah, I mean, that would be great if you saw the live stream and something piqued your interest, whether it was converting someone from steel to plastic, or if it was looking at automation for someone, or if it's just looking at a power tool, please come by, because we've got a lot we can show you.
Yeah, excellent. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. I'm just checking to see if we got any comments or questions. I don't see anything, so we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Real quick though, Both an audio and video recording of this will be available on the Rowe-Thrush SharePoint site. That way, any of the over 800 Grainger account managers that have access to the SharePoint site can go ahead and view these at a later date and download them at their discretion. Also, our next live stream interview, sorry, I should have switched the banner here. Our next live stream interview will be next Friday, January 28th, and we'll be interviewing Vaughan and Dasco Pro, so hand tool manufacturers. Vaughan manufactures hammers and pry bars, and Dasco Pro, they do punches and chisels and some pry bars as well. So really looking forward to getting them on the show so that we can educate you guys on the products that they have and the solutions they bring. So with that, I want to thank you, Ed, for taking some time out of your day to join us on the call. And thank you to everybody watching.
Thank you. My pleasure.